The Trailblazers just traded CJ McCollum, Larry Nance, and Tony Snell to the Pelicans for a package of Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, a 2022 first. That's if it's between the 5 and 14 pick range, and 2 future second-round picks. I honestly like this trade for the Blazers since I'm always a fan of like below 500 teams blowing it up and just focusing on the future. This is the second move they've made this trade deadline, and I think they got a pretty solid return considering how much money McCollum's making. Let's take a look at McCollum's contract. He's got 2 years left on his deal and is going to be making $35 million in the 23-24 season. This is a ton of money to be spending for a guy like him, although it might look slightly better once the cap goes up. It really sucks they had to give up Nance in this deal too, who I think is a solid rotational forward who could play in the playoffs for you. But if that's what it took to get this deal done, then I think that's okay. Best case scenario for the Blazers, they're looking at these picks in the 33 to 35 range, which you could either turn into solid players and try to develop them yourselves or potentially trade them on draft night. Josh Hart's also a solid young player who I think could be another trade asset for the Blazers to maybe pair with Nurkic as a sweetener if they're really looking to clean house this trade deadline or maybe this summer. Going a little bit off topic, this is really interesting because they still have Damian Lillard on the roster. I really did not see this coming from the Blazers front office, and it really begs the question of what they're going to do with the guy when he comes back. I think Dame's going to have a problem with playing with a bunch of young guys and trying to develop them while he's in the prime of his career and trying to win a championship. It just doesn't really fit the timeline. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's had more opportunities to be on ball this year with Zion out and Ball gone, and he really hasn't impressed, so that's concerning. I don't know with Simons. He's looked good at times, and maybe on a new team alongside Anthony Simons and our new coach, he could be better. All right, now let's talk about the Pelicans side of this deal. With the addition of McCollum, you now have 4 guys who are really solid to great players on your roster. If we project to when Zion's healthy, your starting lineup probably looks like Devontae Graham, who's okay at best. Then it gets a lot better. You have McCollum, Zion, Ingram, and Valanciunas. That's a scary lineup. No, I mean scary in the sense that they're going to be awesome offensively. They're probably going to be one of the worst defensive teams in the league, but offensively you've got a lot to work with. I really like the idea of McCollum and Zion pick and rolls since when Zion's been paired with other good on-ball creators like Lonzo Ball, he's had lots of success and looked honestly amazing. Not that the guy necessarily needs a great on-ball creator to be amazing, but, it certainly helps. If we look at just this season, they're currently in the play-in tournament and have a real shot at making the playoffs. And then if we zoom farther out and look at other teams in this range, it's teams like the Lakers who are struggling, the Clippers who are missing their star players, and the Timberwolves who have had injury problems and are the Timberwolves, so they have a real shot. This is all dependent on Zion coming back, and if we assume that he does come back before the end of the year, this team has the potential to not only make a playoff push, but potentially even take a game from one of the higher seeds in the West. I honestly just don't see him going much farther than that, though, since this team is going to be pitiful defensively, and their star player is coming off a year-long rehab.